Welcome, everyone. Welcome to Energy Unleashed, the Midlife Reset podcast, where each week I sit down with some of the most interesting minds out there, where we talk about everything from the nature of life to energy and how energy plays a major role in our current reality. Today's guest is Avigail Tree. She's a dedicated student of the ancient wisdom practice called Kabbalah and a passionate advocate for personal growth and spiritual exploration. After spending a decade as a stay-at-home mom, Abigail started on a transformative journey, navigating the challenges of divorce and rediscovering her true sense of self. Abigail's insights offer a unique perspective on resilience and the power of spiritual awakening. So come along as she shares with us her journey of self-discovery and the profound lessons learned along the way. Hello, everyone, and welcome. We have here Avigail Tree. How are you, Abigail?
Good. Thank you for having me.
Yes, for sure. Yes. So thank you so much for your time. And Abigail, today is just, I feel like it's going to be such an amazing, good energy talk with you here, especially because your background, very similar to what I've been through. And I feel like this is just going to help and be so good for, those out there, the audience out there. Especially going through just life in general. We all know life is full of ups and downs. And, it's not always rainbows and peachy, fun, happy all the time. There's ups and downs in life. And somebody like you, we met, you have very good insights coming from all that you've been through, plus this fantastic spiritual journey that you've been through, that you've been on with the Kabbalah. So I wanted to touch on that also. But for now, if you can just let us know a little bit about your background, if you could. And let's take it away. Go ahead and let us know a little bit about how your background as far as your spiritual journey and where you are now with the Kabbalah and how you found that.
Yeah, thank you. What a nice introduction. I am so grateful to share my story. So thank you for giving me this opportunity, because I truly believe that everyone's story is like an Oscar-worthy movie. If we look at everyone's story unapologetically and you see everything, all the traumas, all the beauty, it's like the best movie you could imagine.
It is.
We just have to own them to see it, We have to zoom out and see it that way. So mine particularly, I grew up religious Mormon. So I was the youngest of 5 kids, and we were very in the religion. My dad was a bishop, so he was like the pastor type guy over a big congregation. I went to a Mormon college, and my whole focus in life was to get married and have kids and to be in the church. And that was everything.
Because you were brought up that way. That was your religion in the household, correct?
Yeah,
gotcha.
Very much. Our whole life was like revolved around this religion, which, honestly, I look at it and it had so many beautiful things, very family oriented, very kind, very loving people. But there's also, with religion, there's a lot of things that aren't very aligned with how I look at things now. But I grew up in this religion, and I married a Mormon man, and that was like the epitome of success. Like when you're growing up, you're like, you get married in the temple, the Mormon temple, and that's like you won, and then life is good and easy from there, right?
Right. That's the story. That's what society thinks, and every group, every culture. That's exactly, you have these things, milestones that that you think is, that's all life is of.
Yeah. So as a kid, it's like you're focused on that, you get to it, and then you think, okay, I'm good now. But so that's really when it broke for me, is because I got married to get married. It wasn't out of love. It was really to like do this thing I thought I was supposed to do, and it would bring me happiness. So I married a man after knowing him for 4 months.
Wow.
And I say knowing, I didn't know him at all.
Wow.
And then, and got pregnant right away.
No, question. Was it family saying, oh, this is a great guy with his background, his values, or was it more so that it was just you guys met, kind of both coming from the same perspective as that's the thing to do, is just to get married? Was it set up, or it was more not like an arrangement?
Yeah, more the latter for sure. Like it wasn't set up, but when we met, we were both in that like, okay, he was graduating college. I was getting old. I was 21, but I felt
Right,
very old.
right, right, right.
So we were both like, we had the same intentions to get married. And, he was a good, faithful Mormon guy. So again, my family and his family were like, they were all about it. There was no part of them that were like, this is fast. They were like, yeah, do it.
Right,
So it's funny looking back now, but at the time it was very normal and exciting. And it was like a win for everyone.
right, right, right.
Um,
Two
but
good
in,
people, why not?
right? Yeah, we do that. But then when I got married very quickly, I realized I was not happy. I didn't love this person. But I was still trying to do it. In the church I was taught, get married, have kids, practice all the things they teach you in the church, and you'll be happy. So I was like really focused. Okay, I'll do this. So I got pregnant. I was going to church, but at the same time, internally, I was so unhappy. Like, just being a roommate with someone you don't really like, let alone needing to be intimate and all these things, I was quickly like becoming depressed and anxious, but suppressing it and hiding it from everyone. Nobody knew, but like every single night I would go in the bathroom and just cry because I was so unhappy.
Wow, right. And you didn't know why, but you were just, and that probably also led to some slight depression as well, because it's like that thing that kind of nugget, pushing at you, just you weren't happy. Something was off, something was missing. Oh my gosh.
Now I look back and I can see like when you're just not authentic, when you're not doing what's right for you and your soul, like the universe is literally trying to get you to be authentic. It's all it's trying to do is to try to get you to be your whole authentic soul and fulfill your purpose. So if you're not doing it, if you're clinging to physicality, if you're clinging to your stories and your ego, you're going to be depressed. You're going to be anxious because
Uh-huh.
you're not doing what you're here to do. But, I didn't know that. So I went through this and I got pregnant with my second kid. And in my pregnancy with my second child, I really started to question the church. I had friends who were very involved in gay rights. And at the time, it was very controversial. It was
Yeah.
like new. The church had a lot of says against it. Anyways, it was this conversation that came to the forefront for me. And it made me realize that I didn't really truly align with a lot of the church's teachings. And within this year of being pregnant and having my daughter, I was like, I don't believe in the church. I don't believe in this idea of heaven and hell. And some people are just going to be damned forever. Like, I don't believe in that.
Right, right.
So then my marriage I say it fell apart, but we stayed married for another 8 years after that. But it was very, very
Wow.
hard. Yeah. So he stayed in
Because
the church and I was out of it. So the one thing we had in common now was gone. Right.
right, 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 right. Oh my goodness. And I would say it was more the thing to do back then, because I remember my mother saying this, again, me as a younger child, I did see some things, you know, happening in the household that I could tell the family was kind of falling apart in my household. However, it was the norm to just stick with it, stay in the marriage for the children, for the children, for the children. But I feel like now it's more common to be like, what is healthy? And you can tie this into also what you currently are practicing and studying. But basically, healthy children, it is better and more healthy for the children to not be in a relationship where you're not aligned and it's not, healthy. Because you're like the vessel, right? Like if your partnership with the father or the husband has to be healthy for it to then channel through the children, because it's all energy related. So I'll
Yeah.
let you take it away, but just so I totally hear you when you stuck not 1 year, not 2 years, but 8 years for the children, I'm sure, because at that time that was like the thing to do. What I remember, anyhow.
Well, and yeah, so I study Kabbalah and Kabbalah teaches exactly what you're saying. And it doesn't matter if the parents are married or not, but if their relationship is healthy, then the energy flow is good.
Uh-huh.
And so you have to look at, is your relationship going to be better together or apart? And everyone, it's obviously different. If you can make it work together, that's ideal. If you can't, of course, like having a healthy relationship apart is much better for the children. And I think now people are starting to see that better, gratefully.
Yeah.
That's how I finally left. Is I was going to a therapist and I was saying, I didn't want to break up the family. I didn't want to cause all this trauma for the kids. And she was like, well, what if your daughter was experiencing what you're experiencing? What if she would cry every night because she didn't want to be next to her husband? Like, what would you tell her? And I was like, I would tell her to leave. And she's
Oh,
like,
that's
well,
so
okay, well,
good to step back. Yeah.
yeah. And she was like, well, she's going to do exactly what you're doing because that's what we do. We repeat what we experience. So then that's when I finally left, actually. So it's a good lesson.
That's a good therapist, actually, because that's a very good point. Sometimes you're so wrapped up in the chaos that until you step back and say, okay, what if this was this person? What if this was you on that end? Then you're just like, oh, holy shit. Oh my God, yes.
Yes.
But
A really cool thing about, real quick, just on this topic, is Kabbalah teaches about tikkun, which means our soul's correction. And it's almost like we come into this life with lessons to learn. We have these certain things we signed up, like this life, I want to learn how to overcome abandonment issues, or this life, I want to learn, so we have these things we come into life to correct, or to learn, or whatever, experience. So what's really helpful is when you start to see this as not trauma, like I'm not causing my kids trauma. My kids' soul literally came to parents that would get divorced because they want to experience this, because they want to learn this lesson. And then it helps you to like let go of the guilt and the shame, because you realize it's not just about me and it causing stuff. Like, no, like it's their soul too also wanted to experience this.
So that's that's so deep. That's so deep. And not everyone will understand this because the moment it's all in the upbringing. So that's why I love that you are here on this show today, because for the reason that it's people like you that is just going to help, open other people up to this. What would you call it? I guess we could back up as the Kabbalah is it a religion, or it's more so spiritual practice, like the laws of the universe, the laws of nature?
Yeah.
How do you explain Kabbalah?
Kabbalah is ancient wisdom. It was revealed in the time of Abraham in the Old Testament, very old. It really just teaches how energy flows, how energy works. It teaches how everything comes from the light of the creator, source, universe, whatever you want to call it, and how to align with this source. It teaches that we all have a specific purpose and destiny, and really how to reveal this. Like, we're not here at just random and trying to get through life. Everything that happens and comes to our life is happening for us to fulfill our purpose. And every day we have a purpose. We all think of our big purpose, but every single day we have a purpose. And when we connect to this, that's when life's fulfilling. That's when we're growing. That's when blessings come. That's when abundance comes. So it's really just teaching how to do this, how to align with this force of the creator, which is sharing, which is confident, which is worthy. And that's all it's teaching, really. It's simple, but it goes into more complex of like, okay, what's the energy of the week and of the month and how to work with it. But at the root of it, we all are the essence of this force of creation, and how to become that again, how to remove the illusion of this world and just come back to this whole worthy divine self.
Like, to me, that's like, because I've been dabbling into this as well. So it's more, we all are on our own spiritual journey, spiritual path. There's a majority of, people right now that they're completely, I don't want to use the word brainwashed, but it's what they're comfortable and familiar with growing up. That's how they were brought up. They're very strong and strict on whether I'm a Catholic, whether I'm a Christian, whether I'm this or that. So they won't dare open their eyes to see this Kabbalah. But I find like a lot, and same thing. And again, we have extremists in all religions, there's, everywhere. But spiritual, for instance, the spiritual world, there's a lot of also super, woo-woo type people that they'll be labeled a certain way. But for me, it's that this Kabbalah information, it's literally like the core, the center of all the religions. This is from my research, and you can help elaborate more on that. But which is why it's super cool that you're studying this. And a lot of us, it's like all the answers we've been seeking or unsure of, or why does this happen? Why would God or Jesus do something, so terrible, so horrible? Until like the Kabbalah explains everything in like universal law. I preach all the time. Energy is everything. Like I've seen so much happen and transform in my life solely from realizing energy is everything, bringing all the energy back to myself, being more present, trying to let go of all. I had so many cords that I didn't realize that like
Mm.
attached to other people, other things, blockages, energy blockages, trauma from past. And now I do believe there's a lot of generational blockages from our past, like you said, that ties into the whole soul, what do you call it? Soul contracts or whichever. But
Mhm.
Kabbalah literally is like, to me, the core, like it kind of loops everybody, everything in. So it's not like you have to pray for external to an external God. Like it's all in us. Like that's
Yeah.
it. I guess it's hard. You don't want to, downplay it and say, "Oh, life is just a game." But in a way, it's like we were all created because God, which is like super crazy source lights, omni everything. We all have our soul purpose, soul contracts. We have God inside each of us. And it's not that, we're all on a spiritual path, whether we think it or not, trying to see what religion or what beliefs, are for us. And, I guess for me, I think we go higher and higher depending on what we accomplish. I've been through a whirlwind of a spiritual journey. And everything that I've been took me years to learn and realizing. And, you meet people along your path, but, I was a major people pleaser and more
Mm.
so staying with one group because I thought this was the group I had to be with, or, oh, they're
Mm.
nice, so we'll just stay here. But more and more, I was realizing, the more I aligned with people that are with my similar beliefs, things just start to happen. Energy shifts and just everything starts falling in its place. And dabbling into Kabbalah and the Kabbalah information, it's just so many like aha moments, like of what I was thinking on my own through trying all these different paths and
Yeah.
different, I guess you could
Yeah.
say, religions, or trying to find like what's that missing piece. Like
Yeah.
Kabbalah just makes so much sense, so much sense.
It's
And
beautiful because it's such a story I hear so often. And it was my story too. The first Kabbalah class I ever took, I was like, yeah, this is just like, there wasn't a question. It wasn't like, oh, this person's preaching or do I
right,
believe it or not? It was just like, yeah, this is just true.
you,
It just, your
yeah,
soul just knows. It's just true, you know?
it's comfortable, right? There's not an
Yeah.
ounce of resistance. Exactly. And that's how you know things are right for you. Like you don't feel resistance. It's like a comfort. It's like a ah.
Mm.
So okay, when someone says you've been through crazy experiences and a lot of trials and tribulations in life, and yes, that's our story. Same with me. We all have our different stories in life, but how could you say to someone who had something traumatic happen? Let's say their child passed away. How is that part of why would the soul choose something so dramatic or
Mm.
traumatic? What does Kabbalah help explain or teach for something like that, like experiencing something so like traumatic?
Yeah. I mean, first off, I can't fully authentically empathize with losing your child because I haven't done that one personally. I can't imagine how painful it will be.
For sure.
I do know that Kabbalah teaches that mm, it isn't just this one life and it isn't as simple as just zooming in on one moment. Like you said, there are generations and there are lifetimes and our soul's infinite. So when we zoom in on one specific moment, it can be very, very painful. And in that pain, it's actually very beautiful. Like our soul actually does want to experience traumatic, painful things. And as hard as it is to understand, it actually is what our soul wants. And not to negate the pain, not to escape it, but to really feel it in the big grand scheme of things, it's perfect. Now, I can't say it's not going to be so hard, and that's not just easy to
Right.
say.
Right.
Especially you look at what's happening in the news and like what happens to people, and you're like, how does this make sense? But all I know is that our soul's journey is much, much bigger than this moment and this
For sure.
life. So I have to look at it in this perspective. And even I look back at those times where, like 10 years, like I said, I would be bawling in the bathroom every night, like so miserable. I'd be like holding my baby who I should be loving, but internally I was so empty. And now I look back and I see where I come and I see how happy I am and I see like what my purpose is and that I get to share this with other people. I look at those moments and I still see how sad it was, but I'm so happy about it. I'm so like, it was so hard but I see it so beautifully now. It's like beautifully tragic. Like we talked about this Oscar-worthy movie, right?
Yes.
Like
yes.
if a movie doesn't have these tragic moments, it's not going to be that good of a movie,
No,
So
for sure. And if everything's just handed to you and so peachy perfect, you would take things for granted and you wouldn't really understand fully experiencing all the feelings and all the energetic actions and feelings that there are.
Yeah. I have a cousin who they tragically had a son pass at, I think he was 7. They found out he had a tumor on his brain, and within a year he had passed very fast.
My
And
gosh.
how terribly and hard it was. They're very religious and spiritual people, but now it's been a few years later, they have the biggest light. They were able to go through the pain and process it, and they still do have it. But when they think of him, they're so happy, and they think about what love their heart expanded in that process. And for me to see them, I can see like, okay, even though it's still hard on them, they have found so much beauty and expansion in that experience. And like, that's amazing.
That's so beautiful. Yes. And no, there's just so much beauty in also like resilience. I mean, for you and for me, for instance, the amount of things also that I've been through in life that maybe not growing up and having my 2 children and going through divorce with somebody that was totally wrong for me, but I see why that happened because each soul is so individually beautiful and unique. And, I wouldn't change my kids for the world. So those things had to happen to have what we have for a reason. And there's much more that we don't know that's going to happen, that all of it ties in and happens for a reason. But yeah, so we have to go through these crazy times just to be able to experience and feel like there's so much more even that you and I haven't even felt yet that is more to come. But just that was beautifully said how you mentioned and how you said it, it is like a movie in a way, and we just have to be present and, whatever comes our way, we have to just do our best to feel it, understand it as best we can. Sometimes we don't have to be stuck on the why did this happen? We'll look back and realize, oh, what lesson did I learn from that? Everything's a lesson, everything.
The
Goodness.
amazing thing is Kabbalah does teach specifics too. Like if somebody had this question, I would recommend they go to like a Kabbalah teacher, because there's certain things about when a soul leaves at certain years. Like if they leave before the age of 12, they are already pretty much like perfect souls, and they just came to teach other people and to have the other people expand. If they pass between the ages of 12 to 18, it means something, and beyond. Like there's different reasons why souls pass at certain times.
Wow.
So I would say if somebody does have that experience, they can either message me and I can get them in contact with a teacher, or they can research that.
I love that. No, for sure. And after this, we'll leave that on the bottom of our comment section here so they can reach out. That's so cool. So it's like angels brought here for a reason, for a lesson. It's just incredible. Life is insane. Life is crazy.
And when you're on a spiritual path, it's such a gift, because we talk about those people who aren't, right? They're still stuck in this illusion and this victim state. And really, to me, that's what hell is. When they talk about heaven and hell is being stuck in the state of nothing making sense. Stuff is happening to us, all this shame and judgment that comes with that. Heaven is really like when you can see, like, I'm going to feel it all, and it's all good, and it's all happening for me, and it all has a reason. Like we can embrace this state of heaven now just with our consciousness.
That's so amazing. Exactly. So, and some people think life right now, like this is kind of like the hell, like we're going through a crazy things that we cannot, and many don't even know that there is anything after this, you have atheists who believe, well, we die, but it's all depends on, are we doing the lessons that we came here to do? What are we doing about every situation that we come across in this life? I have learned so much to be more present currently, and that has changed my life dramatically. And does it also teach, do you believe, like there's also like different levels, like how well we play this game here or this movie here, that how much we learn from being on earth right now when it's my time to pass? Are there different levels that we go to? Is that what Kabbalah, because Kabbalah is a lot about, they link energy with everything. So are there different levels when we pass, whether we go higher or, like a heaven?
So again, I think it's a state of consciousness. So depending on what spiritual work you do, what you evolve, it's going to be an easier process when you pass because you're going to have less to cleanse. A lot of when you pass, if it's very painful and different things, it's because you have a lot of ego, a lot of attachments to cleanse. So this might be the state of hell people talk about, or the pain that you might experience after you die. And really, it's a blessing. Like pain is the worst thing for the body, but the best thing for the soul. So even though it may seem harder or more challenging, people's process dying, and even after you die, it's really the best thing for the soul. But ideally, if you can do it proactively while you're living,
sure,
it's much easier.
Yes, exactly.
And I think that's the spiritual path. It's the proactive path. It's saying, okay, I'm going to do this work now, and it's going to be easier and more fulfilling. Where when you're stuck in this not spiritual path, this ego path, you don't believe that. So then the pain and has to come in and cleanse you later, which is not as fun.
Oh, exactly. No, and exactly. So it is kind of like a cleansing process. And, there's so much. There needs to be a separate topic on just the Kabbalah, because there's so much I learned about the whole cleansing process. And, how when somebody passes, it's like they're connected to their child for like so deeply, like the first year, because it's a cleansing process, because it was something that you, the person on earth, had to learn, so because of them passing is like teaching us something. So it's just all generational. We're
so
all connected. Yes.
Yeah.
Chills. Oh, there's so much. No, I'm definitely dabbling in, because like you said, it's like a comfort. It's not like and to each their own, I believe. This could rub people the wrong way, but there's all these different religions and different things for a reason, because everybody here is on different levels and understanding and how they were brought up, yes, it's just a matter to each their own. And it's just, this information is just everything related to laws of the universe, things I have experienced that have happened that makes total sense with what these teachings are. And it's just so beautiful, all of it. So yeah, I'm going to learn more. I'm going to be chatting with you because I have a lot to learn.
Oh my gosh, it's such a gift. I mean, knowledge is power, so the more you know, Amen. The more you can work with it.
Yep. Okay, so then let's rewind. So yes, I too went through
Tell me a little about, I don't know how much you've shared with your audience. Can you tell me a little bit about your marriage, divorce, and spiritual awakening?
Yes, sure. Yes. So that, and then remind me, because I wanted to see what was the aha moment for you to draw to, for when you were stuck in your tough times where you were like, why me? What made you pull closer to the Kabbalah? What made you get out? So let's talk about that first, and then I'm going to jump to my story. So just take me back to when, because I've experienced similar things, but when you were just crying in those days, and just like, you were probably so frustrated, like, like I need to get out of this. What do you think happened for you to give you the push, besides your therapist, to finally make you just say, like, I've got to make a change?
So the therapist actually came later. I'll tell you. So we talked about, if you're not taking the proactive route, the universe will try very hard to get you on your path. And that's going to come through pain and suffering a lot.
Yeah.
So that's what happened, right? In order to break me out of it. So at first I had this retina detachment. My vision was going. I had to have surgery, and I had to like have my face down for a month.
Oh.
That was in this process, like it seems so random. All the doctors were like, this is so weird. This doesn't happen to people so young. Anyway, so in this process of my eye losing my vision and having to be bedridden with my head down for a month, something happened where I like literally stopped seeing like physicality and I started sensing things. And I think it's literally because my eyes were closed, right? It was like
Wow.
I was so stuck in this physical illusion that when something happened physically, it manifested, and then I was forced to have my eyes closed and just be with my senses for a month. After that,
A whole
it was
month?
a
Oh,
month.
wow.
But honestly, I look back and it was the greatest blessing because after that is when I really started to get in tune with like, no, this isn't right. This, I can't do this. Soon after that, I took a ayahuasca ceremony. I did a few ayahuasca ceremonies. And then after those experiences, I was very open and very connected more to, the spiritual world rather than the physical world.
Wow.
When I came back from my first time doing some ayahuasca ceremonies, I literally could not be in the same room as my husband. I would have panic attacks anytime I was around him. Like I couldn't breathe. It was like my body was just like, nope, you're not doing this anymore. So I literally
Oh,
would like send him away, or I would go to hotels and I was finally happy. I could finally breathe. And this isn't because he's
wow.
like a bad abusive person. It
Right.
was because my soul was like, nope, you're not doing this anymore.
Like the energy was just like, get me out of here.
Yeah, yeah. It was like my soul was like, leave, leave. You're not supposed to be here. So after those two things, having the physical manifestation happen, that shifted me. And then I used ayahuasca to really open me up and get in tune with the spiritual world. Then I started going to a therapist and working through the process of getting divorced. But it was in the separation where all my fears came up, all my like fears of judgments around what will people think, my whole community thinking I'd already left the Mormon church. Now I'm leaving my family and
Uh-huh.
I'm like, went and did ayahuasca, some crazy, whatever. And
Yeah,
like,
she's
I
a spiritual
literally,
hippie now. Yeah.
everyone's like, in my community, it was pretty much like, whoa, what's going on? You've gone to the devil, like, total judgment. I felt
Ah,
so
yes.
alone.
Yes. Yes.
So
Yes.
I spent that, like, I would say it was a good month of when my husband moved out. My kids would go to school and I would just cry. I would just lay in the grass and I was just like so afraid. I didn't know what I was going to do. I had no idea what my path was. And I would just cry and I would pray. And for a month, that's pretty much all I did. I was praying so much to God. I was saying, I, I don't want to I'm not giving up. Like, obviously this is happening for a reason, but I want to find my path. I want to find my people. I want to fulfill a great life. And I would be given these visions of like sitting at tables with people and having these conscious conversations and just happy. And I never experienced anything like that. I never sat at a table where people understood me or I felt like I could speak freely. So I had these visions
Yes.
of this and I was like, okay, this is what I want. So at the time I didn't realize, but I was manifesting this, I was laying there and I would just meditate and I would just see this vision and I would just sit in it and I'd just be so happy about this. And about a month of this, my friend called me and she was like, have you heard of Kabbalah? And I was like, no. And so she introduced me to this masterclass online. It's Kabbalah1.com. And it's their free introductory masterclass. And I took it and I was just like, my bells were going off in my head. My soul was
Yeah.
like, this is so good. And I started applying everything they were teaching. And so quickly I was transforming. Like the qualities I had in me that I thought were just stuck and I was broken and I was weak, like they were changing so fast using the tools they were teaching that, I mean, the rest was history. I was just like, okay, I'm sticking to this. This is working. And I have
Wow.
to say, like, now my spiritual path, my personal transformation is like so fast because of the tools of Kabbalah. It really has taught me, like, if I want something, I can get it. And it gives me the steps on how to transform and how to get it.
And then it happens. So then that's what you're saying. Your transformation is what you feel is happening inside you. And also that confidence to know that you're also manifesting, attracting because of your beliefs, no more limiting beliefs and your confidence. And, you know, aligning with exactly what you want, what's meant for you, these things are actually, right, shifting and coming into your world now faster than before. May take
Yeah.
years before, and now it's according to your energetic alignment, your vessel, what you can handle, what you prepare for.
Yeah.
And all from that, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Oh,
I think that's like when you get on the spiritual path, it's what it is. It's the proactive one. It's like, I want something and I'm going to get it and I'm going to use spirituality to get it. Like the creator is there to help us and it's this infinite source. And we can tap
uh-huh.
into it and we can be guided by it. Like you can get what you want so fast versus just struggling and trying to do it on your own and the universe pulling you through pain. It's so slow and it's so hard. It's if you
Yes.
can do it the spiritual way, oh, it's so much better.
So much better. No, that's exactly what's happening now. And I just started um this podcast and social media and all of this more so just because I'm like, no, enough is enough. I'm out there to just share with the world, the
Mm.
shifts that have happened in my life, letting people know that you're not stuck, you're not, you know, life is not just boring and not just flat and you just follow the rules that you were told that you had to do. There's just so much more. And the moment that you start believing in yourself and finding what aligns with you and believing in, God, the universe, source, and that everything is energy. And once you just like live, like you said, everything was comfortable and just, smooth and non-resistant, things just start falling in place. And I believe that there's things and interventions that happen in life to just shake things up and like push you towards where you're supposed to go, because that's happened to me and those things are happening now. And now that we're more in tuned to ourselves, we were both forced through things in our life to just be still and go within, and now we're following, source and energy, and we're understanding everything. We can sense things so much better. Someone's our intuitions are so heightened. People walk in my house, or if I go somewhere, like I can very quickly and easily feel the vibe of somebody, whether it's right for me or not, whether, oh, this person is nice, but I am not very aligned with this person. Group of friends, for instance. Yes, we can have so much fun and everything, but it's kind of like yes, it's great and cool, but it's not like a full alignment. In relationships with all things, business, work. And this whole podcast was for those in the midlife. We are in our midlife stage, and gone through so many things, and we need to embrace resilience and all of our struggles that we've had in our life and realize that there's so much more. Like once we become more in tune with energy, we start working on ourselves, things start to happen. You learn to feel things around you. And the more you align with people and the things that your body feels good, that's your purpose. That's your alignment. And
Yeah.
more amazing things happen. And sometimes you'll get smacked with something or some kind of traumatic situation because it's that you have to feel to keep going higher and make you better. And so right now, this is for anybody in their midlife that is just feeling stuck or feeling like, what else is there to life? And there's so much more because I'm experiencing it.
Yeah.
So sensitive to energy and just, realizing that this is not for me, but I'm going to stay cool right here, right now, because I know and I believe and I feel that something amazing, even more amazing than what I had thought is coming. Like, it's a sense of feeling, right? Like you too, you feel and there's just, you become so sensitive to energy and it's just, everything's just
Sure.
so beautiful now,
Mm.
like, now I'm like, aha, I totally get this. Let's play the game. We have our movie and it's just being present. And yeah, it's just a freaking ride. It's
Oh
beautiful
my
though.
gosh. And you're right. I love that you pointed out no matter how spiritually awakened you are, every process going forward is going to be challenging. Like it's going to be
Uh-huh.
meeting you at your level so that you can grow and expand back beyond it. So we're still going to
Yes.
have times of darkness and uncertainty. And it's all by design because literally the darkest times when you can choose to look beyond what is in front of you, which is nothing, like I don't know anything. If you can choose to say, this is scary. I don't know what's happening, but I know it's for my greatest good and I know something amazing is going to happen. That's when you create a miracle. That's when they talk about like quantum leaps and things. It's in the darkness. It's
Yes.
not in the light when everything looks good. So in your spiritual path, you'll always have the darkness. The darkness is actually good. It's when you can make a miracle. So to embrace that the whole way is key. It's never a bad thing. It's actually the best thing.
Yes. And as hard as it is or can be, and it's just building you stronger than you ever could have imagined. And not only is it for you yourself, but you're also that you're helping somebody else who also has been through something similar, and you're probably the angel that they've always needed, to it's just amazing. There's so many different pieces and different things out there. My gosh.
Life's so
beautiful.
enriching when you live it spiritually, isn't it?
100%, 100%. And so so then I'll tell you, let me go back to, I have another episode that goes deeper into my story.
Okay,
but
I could watch that one too.
Yes. But so many things, so very similar. Just being in a marriage that was way faster than it needed to be. But the whole young and dumb, and it's just like, oh, couple months, oh, cute, let's get married, blah, 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 have kids within a year. But all of that, just looking back and realizing, and I can totally feel and remember exactly how I felt through it all. Like I was never fully aligned, except for the fact that I really wanted to have kids. Like that was my major thing through it all. I was not madly in love with the father at all, but it was something that kept, getting at me that, I want to have my children. So I have two kids, they're teens now. But I realized that going through a lot of the unhealthy relationship, because it was I was just not clear. It was not there. I mean, if you look from the outside of the relationship, it was completely unhealthy. No support from the father, even during my pregnancy, even at the birth, even after, it was literally always me. The support of the father was never there. And it's just that going through, raising these kids, I would like to say pretty much all my entire life, my son is 19 years now, but pretty much me being their rock. And everybody would say, oh my gosh, Michelle, you're never without those kids. You're never without those kids. Because when I look back, it's true. Like they were my babies, just constantly with me everywhere I went, no matter what. And I pretty much, even though I was married for a few years, it was, like absent. There was just no support, no help. Even financially, I'm not going to put all the blame there, but it was just very irresponsible financially. And so it was just a constant struggle. And I always felt unaligned. The only thing I felt aligned with is my children. Like literally, like I felt like they're mini me's in different ways for a reason. And I know that there's going to be many more aha moments with them as they're growing. But pretty much now, fast forward, going through different relationships and things, looking back, I've never felt truly aligned with any of the past relationships that I've had, which is completely why right now, like, and I'm not afraid to say I'm going through my celibate journey, because I'm just like, I refuse to, once we become more spiritually awakened, to just give myself to anybody, any longer that I just don't feel like a connection with. Like there's something I know out there for me that's going to be deeper, more than I could ever imagine, because I have not had that connection, honestly, with any of the past relationships. And it was a very scary moment when the kids were, my daughter was 1 year old, and I was like, absolutely, like, I don't deserve to have a man like I know I'm way much more like, what's wrong, Michelle? How could I settle for somebody like this that does nothing for me, honestly? And I'm like, why am I here? Why am I here? So, I was going through the Christian path too. There's so many beautiful messages in Christianity that actually helped me through this tough time. And of course, finding God, that was like my rock. And I had some family support. My parents, thank God, were around when the kids were young. this thing in the background is going off. What is that?
We're celebrating your parents,
We're
I think.
celebrating. Yes, this is so funny. Oh my God, this is gonna play in the background when this airs. But yeah, so and then, thank God for my parents that were there when the kids were young to just let me breathe a little bit, cook, things like that, having them close by. But for the majority, it was all me. So fast forward is things I know had happened for a reason. It's a beautiful process because it's kind of like a butterfly, like and my children are so strong and they realize the value of life, seeing what I've been through. And they see their mom strong as hell, etc. And everything that I'm learning and feeling, I'm also they're their own people, but they see, and I'm constantly preaching, do what aligns with you. If this person doesn't make you feel right, that's not the direction you need to go in. So anywho, so fast forward, the moment that I just started following what I truly, truly aligned with, people, relationships, work, other things start coming, like literally like a magnet coming into my life. Things are happening, are shifting. And I know there's more to come. But it's just a matter of just being true, being authentic. I did go to a retreat in Sedona, Arizona, where I dove deeper into chakra healing and balancing, which I practice daily. So I teach that, and it helps, and it could tie in also. It does tie into the Kabbalah because it's all energy. So it's more, in your physical body, aligning your energy, your chakra centers, and with that, that's how you manifest things physically, mentally, everywhere.
Yeah. There's a whole system about how the energy flows from the creator, like where it's all light and down to our world. And there's these 8 levels of dimensions. It's called the 10C or 10. There's a 10C throat, but it all is connected to the chakras too. And how our body is connected to so it's very interesting.
Girl, I'm calling you because I gotta find out about this.
I'm gonna send you to look this up because it's very connected to Kabbalah. Yeah.
So cool. And I wonder if there's something coming up February 28th, an alignment of the planets or something. There's the 7 planets that are aligning, and it's a very strong, energetic. You'll probably learn about this during your energy of the week learnings, but it's coming very soon, February 28th. An alignment of the 7 planets, which all that energy together, it does, because we are all connected to higher consciousness, to God. Our chakras are going to be so, like, as long as we are aligned and balanced and good within ourselves, it could be very strong, powerful time for manifestation, for your vision, for things to come. So like a spiritual cleanse in a way. Apparently, it's stronger connection to source on this day. Have you heard of it?
Amazing.
February 28th.
I'll keep a note. Is that the new moon of Pisces? Is that on February 28th?
I think that's what it is. I think that's what's happening. Yes. And
I've
there's
been hearing about that new moon, but I didn't know also. Okay, good. I'll look into it.
Yeah, just check. Yeah. Whether it's the new moon, for sure, it's a straight alignment, which I don't know if it's never happened before or if it rarely happens, but it's going to be a powerful day.
Amazing. So, very cool.
Gotta look into
we gotta tap into that. That's always the time you gotta do those deep meditations and things.
Yes. I love this so much. Gosh, no, thank you so much for being here. And okay, so let's leave this audience with one more thing. So for those in the midlife, they've been through hell and just are there sitting there on their couch. You and I have had those days where in our freaking beds just crying, saying, why me? Why me? Like, I don't deserve this. What is going on? What would you like to tell them? And kind of giving them this aha as to there's more to life, like, and letting them know that they have no idea how beautiful life is and that there's so much more out there, that whether you feel stuck right now, things can change. What would you like to tell them just to kind of give them a little uplift?
So I would say that we are not here by accident. The creator literally put us here because our purpose is so important. Like the world could not survive without us. That's the moment we were born, was because our soul was needed. Our purpose was needed. So
Yes.
whatever we're going through, go to the divine, go to source, the universe, God, whoever it is, and talk to it. Talk to this divinity and say, I know I'm here for a reason. I know this is happening to me. Help me. Like, give me support. You don't have to do it alone. You can take so much of this heaviness and you can give it to the creator. You don't have to do it alone. And you can just have peace knowing that you are supported. It's all by design. And ask the creator, say, creator, what's my next step? What do I need to do? Just one next thing, whether it's talking to a friend or just resting, whatever it needs to do, just get in tune a little bit with that guidance. If you can ask and just sit and hear a little bit, you can start to build this relationship and know you're not alone. Everything's working for you. And then live in that. Live in the present moment where you're guided. Just next step, next step, next step.
Yes.
And then that's what's going to bring you to where you need to go. If we look too far ahead, it's overwhelming. We have to really like tune in and just hear from in here. And know you're
I love
supported
that.
and know we really have to know that we're not here by accident. It's like it's all a part of the big picture and you're important.
Oh, I love that. And and there's more to life. There's more to life. You may feel stuck right now, but there's so much more to life. As soon as you go inside, shake it all off, go cry in the bathroom, everything. Water's actually very cleansing. The showers were my favorite place to just let it out. And I would just feel such a release afterwards. But it's true. Go within, speak to God, speak to the higher consciousness, and just ask where do I need to go? What do I need to do? And you're right. It is like a navigation system. It's going to just push you downstream and lead you to something that you might not even know why you here, but it's going to be something that is just going to be for their better, higher, best life and more to come. More to come.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. This is so beautiful. So good.
Thank you so much for having me. This is such a delight to talk to you.
Yes, thank you so much. So we'll have more conversations and I'll be talking with you more on this Kabbalah because that's just beautiful. And I hope this was good for everybody out there. And we're going to drop Abigail's information down below in case anybody wants to find out or deep dive a little bit deeper with the Kabbalah. Just ask questions and it's okay. But also comment below here, what resonates with you, what you would like to hear more about, and I'll definitely touch on those topics. And Abigail, I hope to have you on again because we there's a whole rabbit hole of just information and
so much we can talk about.
Yeah. I love it.
I look forward
to your beautiful presence and just girl, keep sharing your wisdom and your experiences. It's helping everybody and you're just such a beautiful energy, beautiful soul, so you're doing the right thing.
Thank you so much. Oh, thank you.